Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony Thompson II. Today is going to be exciting. I believe y'all going to get a lot of jewels, a lot of gems. We have my financial advisor in here, my wife financial advisor, our business, and also I trust this man so much, he's my mother's financial advisor. So, you know, he's not going to tell y'all nothing wrong. He's going to give y'all the real information. I call him, I'm sitting in front of another real billionaire, and brother, it's such an honor to have you today. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your business, please.
Okay, I'm Ellis Liddell. I'm a serial entrepreneur like Anthony here. I own ELE Wealth Management. That's the major company. Underneath that umbrella, we have securities, not where we protect you, where we invest your money. We have life insurance company. We have a mortgage company. So, as I said, serial entrepreneur. We own a broker-dealer where other people work under my license in 33 states throughout the United States. And we manage hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm happy to say that we could do more with your help.
He rich, y'all. He real rich. He rich, y'all. And he's a man of God. He's a leader. And so many great things. I speak highly of him because he's given me so much information and so much game. And I like to run things past him before I, go on to the next chapter. So let's talk about this money. Let's talk about the bag. Let's talk about what's new. We'll go back in your history, but people want to hear about this money and about the bag. Like, what should we be doing right now? What should we invest in? And, just give us some information. Then we'll go into some other talk.
All right, let's set the stage for it. I think a lot of things went over people's head that just happened. The debt ceiling getting signed, that was huge. Ooh. If the United States government would have defaulted on its debt, your neighbor would be breaking in your house getting your food. I'm just telling you, that's how close we came. President Biden, called a timeout and said, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
So it came very close to being the end of time as we know it in America. Now, we've had the luxury for hundreds of years of not worrying about anybody else stepping on our stuff. It was close.
Okay.
Because keep in mind, we had such a divided country that the Republicans weren't talking to the Democrats. The Democrats weren't talking to Democrats. Republicans weren't talking to Republicans. Everybody was divided. Mm. And Biden is slowly pulling people together and crossing the aisle. And that was so important. So now, having said that, what do we have to look forward to? Man, the stock market is getting ready to take off. I'm talking about really take off.
Really?
Yes. We're talking about, let me do my disclaimer. I'm not telling anybody to go invest in the market without an advisor.
Okay.
You need an advisor to do what I'm getting ready to talk about. So, but if you have an advisor who can pick the right stocks for you, you're going to get paid.
Ooh, yeah. Money, y'all. Money.
And there's more money in America than has ever been here before. There are people, listen, think about the young guys like yourself who are influencers. Mm-hmm. They're making money to tell people what to do. Mm. They're not working a job. Mm-hmm. Their job is creating content.
Correct.
Content producers. I mean, that's the thing. I'm talking to people and they're saying, I'm not going to a seminar anymore. What are you going to? I'm taking a master class.
Like Oprah's master class.
Yeah, I'm taking a master class. So that's the difference. So we're talking about exciting times. We signed a debt ceiling for another couple of years. We have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Inflation was out of control. In other words, I drove here in my G-Wagon. Mm-hmm. That G-Wagon, I bought it. Now, let me tell you a little story about that. I had a G-Wagon 5 years ago, and I told the dealer I'm going to keep this G-Wagon 2 years because they're going to change the G-Wagons in a couple of years, and I want the new model. I want the 2021 model because it's going to have a cup holder in the middle, right? So, like, the cup holder makes the difference, right?
Uh-huh.
So the dealer didn't get my car. So my house is situated where I sit real high and I can look over at my neighbor's yard, and my neighbor had a G-Wagon, and every morning when he would start that thing up and it would go.
I love that sound on my cars too. I like my cars loud. My wife hate it.
Man.
She be like, don't put it in the garage
and
making all that noise. She be like, park it away if you leaving early to go run.
So I used to wake up, man, and be thinking, thou should not covet thy neighbor's G-Wagon. And, God loves me like he loves a lot of people. So it worked out, man. I was at the Detroit Golf Club one day having lunch, and a dealer from Dayton, Ohio walks in, a lady who owns a dealership, Ross dealership in Dayton. She walked in, and she said, "Hey, Ellis, how you doing?" I said, "I'm good, Chanel." And I said, "You wouldn't happen to have a G-Wagon, would you?" And she said, "I do. And it's a special G-Wagon. It's a special one." And I said, "I want it." Did you hear me ask her how much it's going to cost?
I love the fact that you just said, "I want it."
I want it.
I love that. I have a
it.
different perspective on cars now.
I'm sure you do.
Because I used to buy all the cars.
Right. Yeah. Using the cars, Maserati. You using the cars early.
Yeah. I was in them Bentleys, all that. But my perspective now is, if I can't write it off, I don't even want it. My CPA, man, I'm in a car 3-4 years max.
Right. So, guess what? That G-Wagon, it fits the weight description.
Exactly. We're going
to
to
IRS to write it off. So I get to Dayton, and I see the car, and it's beautiful, man. I mean, it's just a gorgeous car. Special order, special everything. And I walk in the dealership, and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Liddell, how long you want to finance the car for?" I went in my top pocket, man, and I said, let me just tell you this here. I don't finance cars. How much you want for this car?
Ooh.
And the guy told me, and I wrote the check, handed it to him, and drove out of there in my G-Wagon. I don't finance anything anymore.
You're a boss.
And a lot of people say, "Well, why would you pay cash for things like that?" Why not? That's how my granddaddy them had to do it.
Now, we're a little different now. That's how I used to do. I used to cash out all my cars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to keep my money.
Well, here's the thing. We just went through a period where I'm an investor.
You are.
And where could you put that money after 2020? In 2021 to 2022, U.S. Treasury was the best place you could put money. Mm-hmm. I've got clients that I took out the market in 22 because there was nowhere we can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And those who stayed in the market, they lost 60%.
Mm-hmm.
So my clients thanked me for taking them out the market in 2022. But guess what? We're getting ready to get busy. We got busy today.
Mm-hmm.
Debt ceiling was signed on Friday. We got busy today, starting to set the stage to invest some money. Mm-hmm. So we reallocated millions of dollars a day. We're going to reallocate more money tomorrow and just continue that until we get our clients in the market. But we're not trying to go a whole hog all the way in yet. Because I got to wait and see how the world responds to the debt ceiling being signed here in the United States. If the world markets respond positively, then we're in. But keeping that, there's no right way and wrong way to do anything. Everybody does it based on your master plan.
No, I get it. I get it. I just like now, you know how like when you first... Because before, we talked about this a while ago because you straightened me out on a few things. And before, I paid cash for everything. I ain't have no bills. Right. I mean, my cell phone bill, I paid that up for a year. Just project, how much do it usually cost for a year? Here. Right. I don't even have they owe me money. Right. But now, I just do things different. I do everything by like, what can I write off? I kind of move in that direction now. Everything. I straighten out my books.
Just for those who are watching, you can write off everything, can't you?
Yes.
I want to make sure everybody heard that.
Yes.
You can write off almost everything. Almost. And I say almost only because you can write off if you and I go to dinner after this podcast, one of us is going to write off that meal.
And I would greatly accept it, too.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you inviting me to dinner?
Yeah. So somebody's going to, everything we can write off. Now, there's a restriction on how much of that meal we can take, but we can still write things off. And that's the mindset that we have to get in. I had a client who loves spending time looking in the rearview mirror. I said, for one, it's dangerous driving on the highway looking in that rearview mirror. So you got to look at the big window, the big picture. Everybody needs to have a plan. I talked to a lady this morning, and she wants to get a master's degree at 58 years old in social work. She wants to do teletherapy. I said, that's great. It's admirable. But I noticed on your sheet you put you want to be a millionaire. Well, you're 58. How close are you? She said, I'm not that close. I said, then why don't you think about it from this perspective? Instead of getting your degree to work for somebody, why don't you go out and get a contract like the University of Michigan, Detroit Mercer, University of Kansas? Why don't you get a contract with a school and pay people to work telemarketing under your license?
You gave her some game.
That's how you become a millionaire. When I was younger, man, we used to see the Yellow Pages books, and you're a little young to remember the Yellow Pages. But on the back of the Yellow Pages was an ad. It was always an car injury ad. If you've been in a car accident, call this number. That was always on the back. Well, guess what? The guy who owned the company that had the ad on the back of every yellow page in America wasn't an attorney.
What?
He was in the marketing, man. He sold those leads to law firms.
Wow.
And that's how he became a billionaire.
Hold on, you didn't say a millionaire. That's how he became a billionaire.
Billionaire. Selling those
man.
leads. So now we are bombarded with ads. But this is before that happened. So I'm just letting you know, you don't have to own something to run something.
That's true. I was just talking and to some folks, and I said it's like 3 different ways you do it. I said, yeah, I still work for a major corporation in entertainment, and I leverage that. And then also I have my own company, and then also I do partnerships. I don't think it's nothing wrong as you building the dream to work at a company or do partnerships until you get to where you want to get to.
Let me just say this here. You work at a company until it costs you money to go to work every day. My folks grew up with it. You don't quit a job till you got a job. That's the way we were raised.
Yeah.
So if you're making $100,000 at your job, but your side hustle is making you $200,000, and you don't have time to go to work, it's time to quit your job and stick with your side hustle. And create some more opportunity for other young brothers or sisters who need a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, you said so much in such a short time. I don't want you to go nowhere. But what about, this is a question I have. Okay, we just signed that agreement. Biden just signed that in. What's the thing with Russia, China, Africa? How does that affect us?
Okay, so if you're Russia, if you're China, there's Russia and China. Hey, let me tell you something. The greatest thing in America, everybody thinks, is racism. No. Our biggest problem is envy. There are boys who envy why you played on the football team or the basketball team. They're envious of you. Well, envy is way worse than racism because envy will make you do things to get that person. Slow them down. All right? So, China, Russia, they're envious of the United States. China produces most of the goods and services around the world that people resell. China produces those things. But yet and still, the Chinese currency is not the world currency. The U.S. dollar is.
Are we going to be able to keep the U.S. dollar as a currency?
Well, if it's up to the United Nations, absolutely. Now, are people going to talk about other people want to be it? Yeah. I want to be Michael Jordan, but I'm not. And I will never be Tiger Woods, no matter how much I practice. That's what we're dealing with, is that the United States is in a position where they're not going to allow that to happen. Okay. And the world's not going to allow it to happen, because think about if Russia was a currency and you got a man like Putin, that's problematic. And trust me, I've got a visa to go to China for 10 years whenever I want to go. So I won't say much about China, because I do like going over to the shop.
Yeah. And then, too, so you saying besides currency, it's more than just a political game. It's a character game. It's the comfort level worldwide.
Right. Yeah, everybody's comfortable with the United States and the U.S. dollar. People look at the migration. Number of people trying to migrate here every year. There's a reason for it, because the freedoms that they are afforded. Now, you live in America, you take those freedoms for granted. But we couldn't do this in China without permission.
Absolutely not.
And it would be censored.
I mean, in some countries, you can't even read the Bible without getting killed. So
dead.
Not talking about some talked about, not being what they say on social media, being what do they call it? I'm losing it.
Well,
banned or whatever, whatever they call it.
Okay.
So I don't be tuning in to all this stuff.
Got it. Well, language is going to change. Yeah, that's the catch about language. It's going to always be a constant change.
Oh, cancel.
Cancel culture. Yeah,
cancel culture. I don't believe in that. I'd be like, whatever. Say what you say, mean what you say, keep it moving.
Yeah. All right, so the United States will continue to maintain their position. Will other countries want that position? Remember I talked about envy? Absolutely. They're going to want it. But it's not so simple as that. Keep in mind, Britain used to be the currency of the world. They lost that to the United States. But they also voted for the United States to have it. Only because it's almost like you having your son. And you see your son is getting ready to do something awesome. Why would you stand in his way?
Wow.
It's that way. And the British saw that the United States was getting ready to be one of the greatest countries on the planet. And they had been leading the world for a number of years. They needed to step aside and allow somebody else to do it. They stepped aside and pushed the U.S. to do it. So it's no different than me being a great employer. I can talk about how wonderful my employees are all day long to the media. But if I never tell my employees how great they are, it was for naught. Because unless they saw that show, they didn't even know I said anything nice about them. So why not tell the people who do it? So what Britain did was step aside and push the U.S. out front, and they continue to support us. It's our greatest ally.
Wow. They are. They are a very tight-knit ally. I didn't even see it in that way. Man. So you answered that question very well, sir. I just want to say that. So you were just talking about investments. Can we get more into like investments now? You're saying stock market, okay, and then also where is the whole Bitcoin? You know, those things. Like, do you know about that? And then talk about real estate. Like those three pieces, I want to really you to hit on.
Okay, all right. So I'm a licensed advisor. This is not something I think. This is something I got a certification in. Something I got a license to do. So, cryptocurrency. All right. Anthony, I've got an island that I want to sell you. You say, can I go see the island? And I say, no, Anthony, you can't go see the island, but just know the island exists. How much is the island going to cost me? $100 million. Oh, okay. After I buy the island, can I go see the island? No, it's in a vault. It's locked up. You would never fall for that. But
Absolutely
people fall for it
not.
every day.
Well, when people were trying to, during the pandemic, is when I invested a little bit. I invested a little money
Which
into
one
it,
did
in
you
the crypto.
do?
I did Bitcoin. I did
Well,
some
Bitcoin,
other ones too.
Let me tell you the greatest thing Bitcoin gave us. The biggest thing Bitcoin gave us was networking computers. Computers talking to computers, and the ability for one computer to shut down when another computer goes up.
Well, I didn't understand it. I had people trying to like, hey, this how you read it. This how I'm like, I don't get this. I'm gonna stick with real estate. You know, I'm gonna do, you know, the stuff I know, product and real estate. That's stuff I know. So I'm not gonna do a lot over here. I'm gonna do a little bit. I made some money, but I don't have a clue what was going on.
Well, and neither do most of the people who invest in that. You know, keep in mind, crypto was originally a way for people who needed to wash some money, clean some money.
Oh.
Just so you get what I'm talking about. That it was a way for them to put money into some place and have a means of exchange. Because keep in mind, crypto originally was going to be a border system. Bitcoin was going to be a barter system. But it became a place where people put currency. And keep in mind, most of your millionaires did not buy crypto. People who thought the world was going to come to an end bought crypto.
And that's who was telling me not to do it, was all my millionaire friends.
Wealthier friends.
My wealthier friends.
That's right. They didn't get it. You know, I mean, how do you fall for something you can't touch, feel, or see? I mean, you can't touch it, feel it, or see it.
Well, I do have one thing I'm invested in I can't touch, feel, or see, and that's my faith.
That's your faith. Right. So let's go back to real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. Real estate has done phenomenal. Will the housing prices continue to go up like they have? They can't. It's an unsustainable model. Houses can't improve by 25% a year. It's just impossible. But think about if you're the U.S. Treasury. You can't afford that to happen either because you won't. Here it is. I'm living in a house in, say, Birmingham, and my house is $1 million. And that house, 20 years from now, is $2 million. Well, I got to make sure you can afford to buy the house so that I can sell it someday. Well, the U.S. Treasury has to keep things regulated so that that can happen. And houses have been going up 25%. So that means that my house, 20 years from now, that house is going to be well over 1,000%. It's impossible for anybody to buy it who's younger unless they're just very, very special. So reality is mortgage pools are an investment. So I own a mortgage company. So if I have a number of people who want to loan money for you to buy a house, and you choose to buy my house in Birmingham, and they give you $2 million to buy that house, now all of a sudden I've got the means to help you. Boom, here's the money. Well, how much is that mortgage? $5,000.
So now you're hitting on the banking system. I was going to ask you about that. So speak on the banking system, then go back to the mortgage. Like,
keep in mind, mortgage is not banking. They sound like they ought to be the same thing, don't they? But they're not.
No,
Now they have things they call mortgage bankers. Because banking is a synonymous, it's just a broad term for money. Bankers. All right, so But not every bank does mortgages. As a matter of fact, most banks don't do mortgages, or they do them through private label, we call it. Mm-hmm. So they're doing it under somebody else's brand. Mm-hmm. But where do they get the money from? Investors. Now, back in the old days, early 1900s, 1960 even, you could go to your local credit union and you could borrow money from a bank or a credit union to buy the house down the street. Mm-hmm. They left that business because you got to wait 30 years to cash out.
Yeah.
And even though most of the interest is made up front, it just takes so long for the bank to make a profit. So they couldn't afford that, because look what happened with these banks that closed recently. First Republic, some of those banks. Mm-hmm. They had investments that were paying 1% and 2%.
So you make more money off car loans then?
You definitely make more money off car loans. You make more money off payday loans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's just, payday loans is just like somebody almost putting a gun to you.
Yeah. However, there are lots of people who walk into those places and make lots of money doing it. So I'm just saying, credit cards is what is like a gun to your head, mm-hmm. and they don't even force you to use it, but mm-hmm. people do, and they pay 23, 25%. Mm-hmm. Now, that's usury. Yeah. But guess what? You did it to yourself. Mm-hmm. Because most people, if I hand you a credit card today, most people will pay it off the first month. The second month, they say, well, I need to carry a balance to improve my credit. But by the third month, they max that card out. And now they're paying interest. And guess what? If the interest is $100 a month on the card, the credit card company is only going to charge you $25 a month. They're not going to charge you $100 a month, which means you're not even paying the interest. So now the interest is making money off the money.
You stuck.
You stuck like Chuck. You stuck. So, yeah, the money game is something that we have to all, if you don't understand the money game, then get with a financial advisor who does. Mm-hmm. Get somebody who understands the money game.
See, that's something that I think is just with the education system, it just sucks, because I didn't learn about taxes. I didn't learn about money like that. I didn't get that knowledge until I started doing business after college.
Right.
I didn't. My parents taught me, don't go into debt, pay everything off, live within your means. And I didn't really learn how to build credit. I really didn't start building credit really till almost I got married, because I was cashing everything out.
Well, keep this in mind. You can't teach what you don't know.
Yeah.
I repeat, you can't teach what you don't know. So in order to teach it, you got to know it. Well, what if nobody in your family ever knew it? Listen, the reason why I'm in money today, at 12 years old, I looked at my family situation in Mississippi. We wasn't poor. We was po. Po. Just P-O.
Well, that is one of the poor. That is the poorest state in America,
poorest state in America, and we lived there for generations. Year after year after year after year, we had been in Mississippi. So just imagine where I came from. Yeah. But at 12 years old, I read a book about the wealthiest people in America and what industry they were in, and I made my decision. I was going to be in one of those industries, and I'm in one of them now. The money industry has always been a good industry to make a living. When there's trillions of dollars, nobody cares if I make a couple $1 million a year. They don't care about that. Yeah. So just make sure that if you're going to get in a business, get in one that, remember, envy is bad. Mm-hmm. Get in one that people don't care if you make a couple $1 million. They don't care if you make $1 billion. I mean, we got brothers now making billions a year, and no one pays attention to it because they're trying to make $1 trillion. Mm-hmm. And they have companies making $1 trillion. Jeff Bezos. Yeah. So when you start talking about $1 trillion companies, you don't care about the billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying I need to change my prayers, because I've been praying about my company being $1 billion company. So I need to put a timeline. I need to be a $1 billion company by this time, so I can get to the $1 trillion company within 10 years.
There you go. That's right. I mean, once you think it, your mind can accept it and start trying to map out a plan. See, a lot of people don't talk about your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. That's the thing at night, wakes you up in the middle of the night and tells you to write stuff down on a piece of paper, but you don't have the paper by your bed, so you say, well, I'll write it tomorrow. You wake up the next day and you had this wonderful idea and you can't think of what it was. Gone. Yep, just gone. So your subconscious mind, once you load something in your subconscious mind, it's there. Mm-hmm. So ELE Wealth Management, the company that I created 23 years ago here in Detroit, that company has hired 30, 40 people throughout the years, and that's just the wealth management side. Then you got the mortgage side. Then you got the broker-dealer side. So when you start talking about, but a part of my dream was to create jobs for others. Not just little jobs that didn't make any money. I want to be able to pay my people $100,000 up. Because guess what? If I can pay you $100,000, I'm probably getting paid myself.
Man, I'm about to come and ask you for a job. But no, what I am about to ask from the people is I'm about to give you a plan. I need investors. I need you. I'm asking you right now. I got something. I'm sending it over to you ASAP.
Well, hey, all I can tell you is send it over, and I have the power that every 2-year-old has. I get to say yes or no. But send it over.
Pray for me, people. Pray for me right now.
Yeah, any 2-year-old has that power, and they use it.
So, like, man, you giving so much. I just love it. I love talking to you. It's such a treat.
Well, I knew we was going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
I knew we were going to have a good time.
So, like, you were talking about the different things and the vehicles that you offer. So, what is it that the things outside of your company that you're investing in, or the things where you going with your money? Like, I'm just now starting to talk to some older gentlemen that's teaching me about art. You know, that's something I know I'm going to go into is the art. So what are some things that you're personally investing in?
Okay, so let me just say this to everybody listening. My first priority investment is the ELE brand. So I reinvest in myself. We, unlike you, we have zero debt. And my wife and I got on the plane the other day, and we went to Florida to check on the Florida house because they're changing, they're putting mulch out and different things. We just flew down there for 24 hours to check on the house. All right, so we got there, and I looked at her, and I said, man, it feels so good not having any debt on this house. The house is paid for, and we can just enjoy ourselves in Michigan, shoot down to Florida when we want to, and it's not a thing. So when you're living debt-free, that's a freedom that I just can't explain to you how good that freedom feels. You know, you walk into a store, and if you want to buy $20 worth of groceries, you don't even think twice about buying $20 worth of groceries. Well, if you get the right mentality, you can buy $200 worth of groceries and not mind. You can buy $2,000 worth of groceries and it won't mind. Then you can buy $20,000 worth of groceries and it won't bother you. So it all changes as you change your mentality. Now, it's a thing where you got to change the whole family, though. You can't just change yourself. You got to bring your kids, your wife. Everybody has to come up with you.
I've lived debt-free for many years. Now, I want to build this big studio. So,
well, you're leveraging capital.
I'm leveraging right now.
And let's talk about leveraging and borrowing. Okay. Now, private equity are people who buy your company from you. Well, that's not what you need. You need a venture capital company, someone who invests in your company to help you to grow your company because they can see your potential. And then the private equity comes later. That's when you want to cash out. So you're in a building phase. So President Obama did us a huge solid. He made it possible for us to raise millions of dollars without calling it a stock offering.
Explain that.
Okay. So and anyone can Google it. Just Google what Obama did at first raising capital. So the whole GoFundMe thing is part of Obama's plan. So you can raise capital, millions of dollars. People can invest in your company, and they have to wait 18 months before you give them a payout. So let's say you want to do your studio and you want to build it out, and you can see what the capital is going to be, but you realize that in 12 months, you're going to have people in the studio, it's going to be built out, and you're going to start making money. But you still need another 6 months before you start paying back investors. That was the design of that plan. Give you 18 months. Nobody can take any money from you within the first 18 months. They have to leave it for 18 months. And then after that, you start paying them a dividend. You're not paying them all the capital back. You're paying them a dividend on their money. And if that dividend is 5% of what they gave you or 10%, whatever you committed to, then all of a sudden, Obama made it possible for you to raise crazy kind of capital. And not deal with the state wondering if you've created an investment.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah, let me set my appointment up with you because all the plans are done. So I just need you to come and look at it, and then we just make some more money together.
All right, that works for me, brother. Works for me. And that's just it. There's somebody out there to help everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have angels. I can look back and see, angel number 1, angel number 2, angel number 3. I can see the angels along my path who said, no, go that way, go that way. Not that way, go that way. So we all need angels along our way to point the path out for us. So just bear in mind, you get the ideas, you dream it, and if it's from God, and you notice I said, if it's from God.
Preach it, preacher!
Hey, If it's from God, the angels will show up and point you in the right direction.
Man, give the offerings now. The church, oh Lord, he done came in here and gave a sermon, gave y'all all this information. I can't thank you enough for coming today.
Yeah.
I just can't thank you enough. Everything you do, man, is so impressive, man. Everything you do.
Let me tell you something. I give God the credit. But guess what? I can want fish, right? But if I walk by that pond and I don't ever take a hook and put it in the water with a worm on it, I'm probably not going to catch a fish now. Now, every now and then a fish will jump out the water on the bank. But for the most part, you got to be standing in the right place when that happens. So for the most part, God sends the fish, but you got to dig the bait.
Absolutely.
And, a master class, I mean, those things are so precious. There are people who we do I also have a part on a tax business. So there are people who walk into our office. They started a DBA 20 years ago. They never set up an LLC or a C Corp. That means their write-offs that they're just leaving it on the table. They never thought about it. Mm-hmm. Because they was too busy making money, and they said, maybe next year I won't make the same money I made this year. Mm-hmm. So they didn't believe in themselves, even though they kept making the money.
Yeah.
So my thing is that you got to, if you're the smartest guy in your circle, get with somebody who you think might be a little smarter. Because that's what I do. I surround myself with people who I know are smarter than me.
If I'm the smartest person on our team, we in trouble. Just like my wife, like her business, she wanted to do something. I said, no, we're going to keep your business debt free. Mm-hmm. I want to go, no, your business is going to stay debt free. Like, we don't owe nothing on that. Put the cash into it, you debt free, and watch what God do, how he build it, because we have just follow the strategy.
Yeah. No, you're right. I had a lady who wanted to get into the party planning business. Mm-hmm. She wanted to set up event planning. That's what we call it. She wanted to get into the event planning business. And I said, hold up. I said, what do you need to do that? She said, I need to build a facility. I said, why? Mm-hmm. There are thousands of facilities empty right now. Mm-hmm. There are hundreds here in Detroit that need somebody in them right now. Why not advertise yourself as a party planner, as an event planner? Pick one of the golf courses,
use
all the different places around town that's right for that person's event based on what their theme is, what you want to do. I'm going to be a host Saturday for a 60th wedding anniversary. That's a diamond anniversary. How many of those have I done? None. But am I looking forward to it? Do they have the right venue? Yes, somebody found the right venue for them to host their 60th wedding anniversary. Wow. And
hold on, I got to stop right there. 60 years of marriage.
60 years of marriage.
They are amazing.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And it's the Simmons, 60 years of marriage, and I'm glad to be a part of that.
Yeah.
A part of that celebration. But guess what? They had to use an event planning facility.
Man.
They had to have somebody plan everything out. So I said, just get on Facebook and advertise yourself as an event planner and make it happen.
Yeah.
Your skills are administrative. You're perfect for making sure everything is thought about and pulled off. You check all the boxes. Mm-hmm. You don't need a facility to do that. Mm-hmm. You don't need to carry that weight.
Yeah.
So sometimes we try and clean the house before the cleaning lady get over there. Mm-hmm. No, her job is to come clean the house.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Man, so much knowledge, man. I really now want to just ask questions about myself.
You're going to turn into a personal.
God bless all y'all. It's my turn.
Right.
But I do want to tap just a few more things, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You said, I want to go back to, you were saying to invest right now in the stock market. Let's dive in a little deeper with the stock market now.
And I did say you need an advisor to do it. Don't just do it on your own. Now, there are all kinds of things out there you can do it on your own. There are people who, my son loves options, so he buys options, but he's got a license. He understands the stock market. He understands options. He didn't just take one class, and all of a sudden he's trying to do option trading. No. He took many classes, and he's doing option trading. So it's all kind of opportunities out there. Here's one of the most exciting industries that nobody's talking about, AV. Aviation. Mm-hmm. Where they're going to be doing taxis, air taxis, the Jetsons.
They actually in Houston right now are testing that.
They are not just testing it in Houston, they're testing it here in Detroit.
That I didn't know, but I know what's going on in Texas.
Yeah, they have contracts already here in Detroit.
Wow.
So it's a thing. And air taxis are going to be in the air. FAA has already approved them. Look into some of the AV companies and start getting excited about it, because that's the future. And you get in on the ground floor if you do it now.
And that's very smart, because when we used to think that the Jetsons and then Back to the Future, when we was little bitty kids, thinking like, yeah, cars gonna be flying by the time in the 2000s when we started driving. No, we still on the roads. But it's smart to have it to where it's trained professionals in the air, because think about a car crash in the air, hitting the ground. You don't want no regular everyday people just driving in the air yet.
Right. So air taxis, and actually, believe it or not, a lot of those things are going to be like drones.
Oh, okay.
They won't have a human being. Here's the biggest problem that any of those self-driving trucks they're having. It's not the trucks themselves. It's not the self-driving trucks. It's the humans. Is the biggest problem. Because you can't anticipate what a human's going to do. Are they going to slam on their brakes? Are they going to do this? Because the computers can talk to each other and say, you go and I'll wait. But the humans are sitting in the car, hitting their horns and doing things. They can't anticipate the human part. If it weren't for the humans, they'd have it. And AI is a thing. AI is a thing. I was talking to a young man on the golf course the other day. He was 17. He went to get to debate whether AI should be or should not be. Should it help students with their homework? Should it not help students with their homework? And I said, well, what do you think? And I told him, I said, hey, man, I graduated in 1975 from high school. At the time, we couldn't use calculators to do advanced math. Can you imagine not being able to use a calculator in school today? And he's like, no. I said, that's AI.
Jeez, man, that's deep. Man, I can imagine I use my phone, because we was using them bad boys.
Right.
They said, don't use them. We sneaking on them phones.
That's right.
Man.
So it's one of those things that we can't stop. Now, do we want to influence the programmers of AI? We don't want them to program racism. We don't want them to program envy. We don't want them to program things that will hurt our children in the future. But AI is here to stay. Anytime they can have AI make Drake's song, and 10 million people download the song for free, and it sounds just like Drake, and Drake wasn't nowhere near that studio, that tells you that AI is here to stay.
Well, people.
So for as investments, there are lots of investments, but again, I'm going to drive the point home. Get with a good financial advisor who's interested in investing. And now, not every financial advisor has a stockbroker's license. They can't trade stocks. They don't understand stocks. So not every advisor. You want to make sure that your advisor has a broker's license to trade and sell securities. Because if they don't have a choice but to sell you a product that's not securities, that's not stocks. They may sell you a mutual fund. They may sell you, mutual fund is stock. They may sell you an annuity. It may be a fixed annuity. But it's not something that's going to grow as the market grows. So you just want to make sure you get with the right advisor who can help you to figure out. And that's true for everything. I mean, I have advisors, I mean, you never get to where you don't need somebody. Everybody needs somebody, and that's how this whole human society works.
You got to have multiple eyes on the money, baby.
Yes, that's how this works. You got to have somebody watching you who's watching you who's watching you.
Well, that's all the people going to get today. I thank you so much for coming on Conversations Podcast at AT Network Studios. You are a wealth of knowledge. Could you please give everybody your social medias, websites, and all that information to contact you?
All right. So you can check us out at elewealth.com. That's the website, elewealth.com. And I'd love to have you go to Instagram, Ellis Liddell, and follow me. Facebook, same thing, Ellis Liddell, or ELE Wealth Management. And let's do business together. Let's make it happen.
People, that's what we're doing in 2023. We're going to do business. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make this money. Support your people. As you support your people support you, and then help them get the word out so we all can keep our dollars circulating. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay tuned. AT Network. Follow us everywhere at AT Network. Follow myself at Anthony Thompson II on all platforms. Love you all. Peace.